Welcome to the Traffic Hackers Podcast, the crossroads of lead generation expertise and business growth savvy. Here we explore the expansive landscape of demand generation, guided by your hosts, Brent Stone and Glen Martin. So get your laptop out and your cell phone ready. It's time to enter the world of the Traffic Hackers.
Hey, welcome to the Traffic Hackers. I'm Brent Stone, and I've got Glen Martin here with me, and we are excited to talk to you about some real life stuff today when it comes to generating leads in your business and how it applies to certain strategy and thought process in the typical business day-to-day operational world, looking at budgets and cash flow and different things. Glen, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, what's up, Brent? Guys, great to be back. I am amazing. Super excited to come at you all with some more tips. And whether we're talking about sales or leads or whatever we get to talk about today, I'm just as excited as you are. So stay tuned. There's going to be some good stuff, and I'm going to kick it back to Brent to get things kicked off.
Awesome. Well, today, here's what we're going to talk about, because this is one of the biggest issues that I feel like I'm running into in this space with people when I'm talking to businesses or people about generating leads. One of the biggest pushbacks that I think that we're getting is that there's so many people trying to sell similar things and they don't have real value baked into what they're doing. They're literally just trying to make money. They're not trying to provide a legitimate service, which is going to build their reputation so they can actually have a big business. So I'm gonna unpack that, and then I'll let Glen answer a question that I'm gonna propose to him here in a second. You're going to want to listen, because this is going to help you understand where businesses are at. So if you're in sales and you're trying to generate leads for yourself, or if you're a business trying to generate leads for yourself, you're going to understand both sides of the coin here. So when businesses get started by people that just want to make a lot of money, which is happening post-COVID era, there's a lot of people thinking that, oh, I can be an entrepreneur because there's 1,000 people on Instagram that I saw today telling me that I can make $1 million my first year in business, which you can. Hopefully you do it ethically, but a lot of times people just have the goal in mind of, hey, I can, how much can I sell this thing for? And they don't really care about delivering value that's going to back up what they charge. And that's a problem, because people don't stay in business very long. And then you've got small businesses trying to just, take home enough money to, put food on the table for their family. And, they end up overpaying for some widget that doesn't work. And that's an issue. So real value is the topic today. And if people are looking to generate more leads in their business, you have some type of business, you're trying to generate more leads. How can you offer real value in relation to what you charge? So what I'd like to propose to Glen is that, how, if you're a small business, what are a couple of ways, one or two ways where people can really raise value, not artificially raise value? Because let me qualify this question. I've done sales my whole life. Glen, I know you've done sales a lot your whole life, career. We're career salespeople. A lot of the time when salespeople are getting trained, and what I've seen in like even the last 5 years or so, everyone is taught features and benefits and the difference, all these things. But what I've seen is that people are really overinflating their the value on certain things. They're really inflating the benefits and how the features go into producing these benefits. And they don't actually, unfortunately seen a lot of people lie about, what the actual features do. And so therefore the benefit of those features don't actually come to pass. Really, really not good. How can we, as doing what we're doing to help people generate more leads for their businesses, how can we help them have the right perspective on how could they really increase the value? And I'm going to come back. I've got my own opinion on this, but I wanted to get yours, Glen. What do you say to that? What do you say to people creating real value? How should they do that?
I think it's a long conversation, because a lot of people, in today's time with the digital age, it's easy to have this fake value that appears real, which you kind of already hinted to, where people can spend a bunch of money, they can have, a bunch of followers on their social medias, they can have all these press releases that they wrote up themselves, they can have all kinds of, and so there is perceived value, which is what we're trying to debunk, and then it's the real value, and the real value is what's under the hood, behind the scenes. And I think that in order to do that, the way to do that is, there's a phrase, it's called, you have to slow down to speed up. And that's a phrase I've heard for years in different business opportunities in different instances. And I think, if you're listening to this, depending on what your business is, how can you slow down and, as the business owner, look at, what if I was my own customer? See, now you will know. I mean, that in itself could be, we could stop with that episode. If I was my own customer, would I be excited to pay $50,000 for this service that I am charging $50,000 for? Would I be like, you're an idiot, this is like a $3,000 project? And I do believe that, business owners need to make money, but on the flip side, put yourself in the customer's shoes and says, is my delivery worth what I'm charging? And if you can legitimately look at yourself and say, man, I would pay twice what I'm offering this for because it's such high value, and you know that you're delivering, you now have real value. But here's where you can start to ask yourself and start to really know whether you're BSing yourself or your clients, is if you're like, yeah, I know I'm overcharging, but people are paying, so it's all good. See, that can work in the short term, but I think long-term business, you will ultimately fall down because people see through that stuff eventually. And you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can never fool all of the people all of the time. And so you need to look at, I think there's several things. Is your onboarding as high class as possible? Do you have, when someone's a new client, what's that onboarding look like? Or is it just kind of like a haphazard, well, let's just see what happens and we'll go from there? Is it as high class as you can? When they come in, do you have high communication with your prospects and then your new clients? Is it high communication where if things are going incredibly well, there's high communication? If things are going not as well as you wish they did on the project that you're working with them, it's high communication. See, communication is a huge factor in value. And there's a lot of business owners that unfortunately are charging a lot of money and they never want to talk to their clients. It's, if I can get you to pay me, go away, and I'm going to do whatever I decide I want to do to fulfill this service, but I don't want to ever talk to you again because you're not worth that to me. You're worth only money. That's not real value. And there's a lot I could go into, and I would kind of turn it back to you, Brent, because I think in this whole conversation of communication, we could go on a whole rabbit trail. But onboarding, communication, is the service then stacking up? If you were the client of yourself, would you actually pay for that level of service? Those are three things that I would look at right out of the gate of real, actual value that you can bring to your clients.
Yeah, I like that. That's really good. One of the real things here, if we're going to stay on topic of like lead generation, here's why I feel like this is really, really good. If you do the things that Glenn, you were just talking about, where you're really trying to, assess, hey, am I really delivering? You give an example of a $50,000 service. Am I delivering, something that's only valued $3,000, or am I delivering, double what I'm charging? Am I delivering $100,000 worth of value, not delivering $3,000 and charging 50? Like, I mean, that's a real thing. Like, we've seen this, we've come across people that we've, pitched our stuff to, and then they're just like, no, we're out of money because we took the bait on something over here, and we don't know you all like we didn't know these people, and we can't lose twice. Yeah, totally understand. We've been like that. I mean, there's people coming to us after we've been taken, like when we, the first 6-9 months we were in business, we took the bait on, 2 or 3 things that, people are promising us the moon. They're going to help us and, fast track our education and some of the different things that we were doing. And it's just like, man, it was not that. It was just not what we were promised. And so we know. And so one of the things that I think that's really big is just being able to just, look at, as we come to a close with this particular episode, here's what I'll tell everybody. as you increase your value, we're looking at what Glenn said here, you actually raise your expectation. And then this is in part 1. Part 2 episode that we're going to cut in just a minute, we're going to talk about more of a tangible, why businesses don't want to do this, and then why they should, because there's a whole lot here to unpack. So here's what I'll say. When you have a focus on delivering value and your reputation goes up, all of a sudden you can generate more leads because you have more engagement from people that you're treating well and they are happy with what you're providing for them. So I think that's honestly, that's where we need to stop this episode, because if people can chew on that's enough to kind of get into the next phase of unpacking this, which is why do businesses want to do this? Like, why don't businesses want to have a good reputation? It's not that they don't want to have a good reputation. It's just what we're going to talk about. I'm going to unpack this whole thought process and then the solution. So with that, hey, thank you all so much for tuning into this episode. Glenn, is there any closing comments you want to make before we cut this off?
I don't. Just don't miss the next one, because if you want a business that is long-term sustainable, you want to figure this out very, very, very soon in your business career, or you will be one of those 80 to 85% of businesses that fail within your first 2 years. And you do not want to be that. And all of it, I think, comes down to service, quality, and there's other things, but those two are what kicks most businesses out of the water out right away. So let's get into the next episode, because you guys want to be one of the 15% that's around 5, 10, 15 years from now.
It's awesome. All right. Thank you all. Tune in next time, and we'll see you soon.